All right. Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
hey,
Hi, Shola.
hello.
It's good to have you here. It's good to have you here. So, you're my first guest on this podcast series. Yes. And
Wow,
I'm
wow,
excited
I'm
about it
excited.
because it's a big milestone for me. It's a big milestone for me. So, for everyone who is joining in today, this is the first episode, I'll put it that way, in the 4-day series of the Polish Lens podcast, as we count down to the 100th episode, right? And we titled it The 100. We titled it The 100. And what we're doing on this series is to feature content creators, people who are creating things in their spaces, not necessarily online content, because I think when people hear content creators, they're always thinking of online content, not necessarily. So you could be creating content in any way, but adding value through the things you're creating. Or you're someone who has been in the service product making space, right? And you've done things of a count of 100 and more. And it's my pleasure to have with me today Shola Balogun. Shola is
Hey,
team lead at Outspok'n. We're just teasing before we started off the call. And I was telling him, don't worry, we're not going to put anything behind Outspok'n, because tomorrow Outspok'n could be group of companies, conglomerates
yes,
and all
indeed.
that. And we have to
Yes,
project
indeed.
such big things in the future, because
Yes,
I,
yes.
I, I see how well you come, and I'm really happy to
Thank
have you
you.
here today,
Thank you.
especially to hear
Thank
your
you.
story. And I know a lot of
Yes.
people want to meet you. So we're going to start with that right now. So thank you, first of all, for joining. And then, yes, let us meet you. We'd like to know who Shola is. And we'd like to know a
Okay.
lot about Shola that people don't often know, except they
Okay.
are really, really close to you.
Okay. Thank you, FolaFayo, for the opportunity to be here. I am absolutely elated, excited. You're one person who constantly inspires me. I remember my first headshot ever in this life. You took it, and and I remember when you were, as in, you said, "Oh, that you do headshot photography." I'm like, "What is headshot photography?" And then, I still remember you setting up, like when you set up at my store. It's like then I was still in a small space. Your equipment and everything alone took half of my half of my stock space. I'm like, what's this woman about? Reading Google gadgets and everything. But when the pictures came out, like those pictures, I used it on my LinkedIn profile for almost 5 years, because it was just, it spoke volume. And then that season, which I mean, I resigned into I moved from paid employment into a full-time business ownership. That was the picture that everybody would use on flyers, on digital media, on social media. And I'm like, if you did not force me to take this picture, which picture will I be using? So I just want to say a big thank you for
My pleasure. My
that.
pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So who is Adeshola Balogun? I mean, well, like I said, I'm team lead. I interchangeably use team lead, Outspoken, creative director, Outspoken. I'm a fashion entrepreneur. I just recently delved into podcasting. So, as my senior colleague in the podcast business, so basically, what the podcast is called, the Coffee and Beans podcast, and why we do that. Basically, the mission of the podcast is to speak to entrepreneurs and hear their stories. You find out that there aren't too many stories of where entrepreneurs can actually say how they rose from whatever it is they went through into what it is they are into now. We only hear these celebrated stories of the Dangotes, your Tedolas, the Elumelus, but you don't hear of the everyday people who put in the work, who employ hundreds of people, who employ the people in their tens. And those ones too are not even bothered about the limelight. They are just happy in their little corner, shining their light. So the whole essence of the Cotton and Beans pod is to celebrate. So the tagline of the pod is celebrating enterprise. So that's what I've been into lately. I'm all about living life on purpose. I'm all about making sure that you leave as much impact with people as much as possible. I believe that God brought us on this earth to this earth for a purpose, and whatever it is we find our hands to do is just a channel to which we can bless lives. I realized that that's what my mission is now. That didn't occur to me until a couple of years ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago. I used to tell people that I'm just realizing the reason why God brought me to this earth, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. Like all that time, I was just winging it, winging it. If this one does not work, this one will work, this one does not work. It's just now that I'm coming into it, doing a journey, but we thank God for that.
Awesome. That's so cool. That's so cool. I like that. I like the vulnerability you're also opening up that with, because I know that this is something that a lot of adults, a lot of us, we really want to be able to nail it. It reminds me of years ago when I was about clocking 30. Was it 30 or 35? I don't know. I know at that time, all I was just saying was bullseye, bullseye. God, there must be something precise you want me to be pursuing. There must be something. So I know what that does when you eventually start to connect into the things that you feel like God has called you to, and you're finding joy and fulfillment doing that. So I'm sure that you have some things to drop along that line for us tonight, or rather today, because I know that some who will be watching the replay will probably be seeing this during the day. But I mean, I'm excited to have you share other things around your work so far, your purpose discovery so far, and all the things you've been doing around this particular scope of work that you really covered quite some miles in. All right, so in getting to know you more, we want to play a bit of a this and that, or this or that. Don't worry, I'm not going to do too many, just about 5.
All right, cool. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do this. Okay. So the first one, interesting enough, I think is going to be quite a straightforward one and very simple. I think it's even a cheat one for you, but let's start with that. So tea or coffee?
Coffee. That one is not even negotiable. Coffee.
Okay.
I mean, I have a podcast called Coffee and Beans.
I know. If you had said coffee beans,
if you had said tea, you had said
your podcast.
I mean, yes, now. Go without saying.
All right. Okay, cool. But then this one too is now a little bit of a cheat one for you, because I'm seeing you now when we're about to start going on live, and I was like, you've basically answered this one. So trad or black tie?
Trad.
Trad any day for you.
It's just easy, simple way. Yeah. Trad.
That's true. I'm interested in that. I'm not sure I've seen a picture of you in a formal outfit before.
The headshot you took, that one where I wore a suit was. So, do you know the reason why I'm not exactly a fan of black tie anymore? If you asked me maybe 7 years ago, I'd have said black tie, because then I was working in corporate, so I would always have suits and tie and all that. But I have since made that transition into. Because of the fact that I'm constantly on the move and all of that, so I've come to enjoy the freedom that trad gives.
Yeah.
So yeah, trad.
Cool.
Doesn't mean we'll not wear black tie when the decision demands for us to do, but we'll do. Trad.
I know. I said that you're doing a complete one too, with the cap and all of
that. Yes, so. I always wear my cap as a true Yoruba man.
Yeah, you are. You're a complete one. Okay, so indoor or outdoor?
Indoor. Once again, if you had asked me this question a few years back, I'd have said outdoor. But these days, all I just want to do after work is to put on my favorite series, drink a cup of juice or coffee, and just watch TV. Like my wife is like, you're not going, and I'm like, I don't want to go out. Like if I'm at an event, it's because I have to be there. I have come to enjoy the sanctity of my solitude. If I can use that word. I used to be an extrovert a lot, but because of the fact that I feel like I put in so much of myself into work. Doesn't mean I don't recreate, but I put in myself into work that after everything I just want to sleep or I just want to relax. So outdoor does, and then Lagos, outdoor events in Lagos are noisy. Like you don't have any outdoor events that are cozy. Everybody just feels the need to blast loud music or do something, so Indoor. I'm sure
Yeah.
my wife will be surprised at the response, but indoor.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Okay. So if you had a choice to pick between living long enough to see your great great grandkids or going back to live in time to see your great great grand folks, which would you choose?
I mean, I feel the now living long enough to see my great grandchildren. My I feel like there's nothing like seeing your seeing your seeing your babies have babies and those babies have babies. There's just something about seeing how your legacy turned out. Um, I don't think my I don't I mean for someone like my dad now who is late, he was hoping to because he would say it like so he was hoping to meet his to be a great granddad. But so I think the past is a past. It, even because even if I had that option, I would like to sit down with them and know what they were thinking when they. But I mean, a new legacy has started with me, and it's a new line, it's a new set of information that I'm passing through my kids. So I want to see how that pans out. So I'll take the first option where I would like to see my great grandchildren. That
Awesome,
would be
awesome.
so awesome.
That would be so awesome. I like the way you said a new legacy has started with me. That is so
Yeah,
cool. I like that. I like that.
yeah.
Okay, so one more. So if you had to spend an hour with someone dead or alive who wasn't your spouse or your parents, okay, or your kids, who would that be? And
Yeah.
what would make
Now,
that person your choice?
okay, so is it that dead or alive, right?
Yes, dead or
The
alive.
person, there are two people actually, Nelson Mandela and Paul Adefarasin.
Ah,
Now, Nelson Mandela because I really want to know what his mind, what went through his mind when he was when he was on Robben Island in those 20 something years. Um, it's not easy to how he was able to remain resolute in the face of betrayal and in the face of like did he know how immortal he would be? Like how was he able to stay the course and stay for and remain resolute for that long? That is Nelson Mandela. Paul Adefarasin because I admire his charisma. I feel like, and then of course his story from him being a drug addict to leading one of the largest congregation in Africa. I really want to know what goes through his mind, how he's able to be able, how he has been able to sustain that spirit of excellence for that long, not compromising. So Paula Adefarasin, because I admire him, I admire his charisma, how he's been able to sustain the level of excellence that he puts into ministry, leadership and then sustain it for that long. How he's able to remain relevant as a thought leader, as a I mean, he's one of the few persons of faith that are listed in Forbes. So I really want to know what is going through his mind. Of course, we all know the story from when he was drug addict to leading the almost one of the largest congregations in Africa. What his mind goes through, basically his charisma and his that spirit of excellence in him is something that I really admire a lot.
awesome. Incredible, incredible. That could be quite a challenging question for some people because sometimes you're like, who's dead or alive? Should I pick someone from the Bible? Should I pick should I pick somebody that I've worked with in the past or something? But you've been able to quickly like just mention those names. It means that it's probably something you've considered before. You've had them top of mind at some point and been able to
Yeah.
share some of the things that, and obviously from your story, or rather from your choices, it seems like you might be someone who is drawn to stories of change, because on
Yes.
Nelson Mandela, you're talking about what it took for him to have gone through that and then to eventually be that. And then also for Poladi Farisi, you're saying someone who has gone through that and eventually be that, so it's
Yes.
that you appreciate
Yes.
the transformation that people go through in life, and especially when they
True.
make the best
Yes.
of that transition and on that change enough to even be a blessing to other people. So in line with that, we want to hear your own transformation story. Let's first of all hear what transformational stories you had around what to do as a kid, because I know that for most of us, we start by seeing our parents and we're like, okay, if your dad is a doctor, oh, I want to be a doctor like my dad. Then all of a sudden, after a while, you see someone else and, oh, I want to be this. So for you, when you think about the journey you took making career choices as a kid before you eventually settled on, your final career, right? Or the vocation you're focused on now, what were your choices and what were the things that influenced those choices for you?
Okay. First of all, do we have the time for us to tell this story? Because the story is long.
Just give us a
Okay, but
summary.
I'll start from the top. So, in growing up, for the longest time, my dad wasn't one of those people where you actually knew what he did, because he constantly doing. At a point, my dad had a piggery. At the point, he worked in. He worked in MPA, Nigerian Port Authority. Then he had a piggery. Then he started exporting stuff. He was just putting his hands in different pies. So you cannot say, "Oh, this is what." But that's what I mean. Now, what you got to call a serial entrepreneur. So, um, my mom was more of the steady hand. But even in the steady hand, like at a point, she had a salon, then she moved to selling provisions, then she moved to selling household items, then she's moved to selling coolers. Like both of them were just restless souls. But so at a point I wanted to be an accountant, because that's what I thought my dad did. At another point, so what I think I stayed with the longest was, there was a guy in my church, Brother Adeola. He worked in Chevron. He was a geologist. I just liked his swag. I liked his charisma. I liked the fact that this minute he's traveling to this place. I said, no, I must be a geologist with Chevron. And I I applied for geology in FUTA. That's Federal University of Technology at Korea. And I didn't have physics. And they said, you don't have physics, so we cannot give you geology. Now, at that point, because I kept writing jam, because the geology I want, I don't 4 years at home. So I told myself that is at this point I have to give up this geology dream. Yeah. And I mean, which was also a blessing. I finished secondary school at 14. I don't know when was rushing us to. Yeah, at 14. I finished in. So I'm glad that God actually gave me that. Like God put a pause. Like, okay, everybody just chill. Like everybody just chill. Which is why I said the story is long, because like I said, up to that time, I really didn't know what it is I wanted to do. And then I used to stutter a lot. Like the fact that I am conversing with you, this flowing freely, is a miracle in itself, because I didn't really used to be able to talk. So in that 4 years was where my speech got better. Then let's say I found solace in music, because my mom got me a Walkman for my 15th birthday, which was 99. And all I would do was listen to music. And then I said, okay, probably I want to be a record producer or a DJ, because I think I had a good grasp with music. But of course, my parents, who were pastors, were like, I bind that demon of youthful exuberance. And that's how that one went. but, but you know that in school, I started a rap group. And yes, I started a rap group called J Tribe. That Tribe of Judah, just a funky, yeah, J Tribe. So for the 5 years in school, people knew me as a rapper. Now, in my third year in school, Popsy went into some hard times. So money wasn't coming as much as before. And I was always getting broke. So one of those strikes of ASU, I was at home. I just prayed to God and asked God, what exactly do I do to make money? It wasn't necessarily, oh, you lead me in the direction of where I want to go. What do I want to do to make money? And then, you know, I wrote a list of things. Before that, my elder brother, who has a clothing company in Abuja, I just got it up my mind that, okay, so why not talk to him? Let him. I mean, he can give you stuff you sell. I know that I didn't think I was a buying and selling kind of guy. I just knew that I had a way with people. That was a common denominator in everything. I knew that I had a way with people. I could convince people to do stuff. I could lead people to do things. I could everywhere I found myself, you know, I was always given some sort of leadership role, which in itself is actually funny because one would expect that as somebody who used to stutter a lot, you keep your mouth shut so that people won't laugh at you. But that really wasn't my case. I mean, I must get the word out. I must get the last word out. But you will know that, you know. So a lot of people just be like, okay, this guy probably has something to say. Let us listen to him. So it was 2005. I started the clothing company. And the plan was that by 2007, I was able to pay my bills till final year. I look for a job. So I did look for a job. I got a job, but all the customers and we were my friends from school. Of course, they also started working. They also started introducing themselves to some other people, and that's how that started. I kid you not, I never knew that what I'm doing now will be a career path. Like I said, I did not. I was just winging it. Well, I was just just winging it here. As far as you know, there was money in my pocket that could pay my bills, but I still knew that, you know, this wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. And then, I think 4 years into paid employment, I just want to say that I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like my job. I worked in real estate. I don't. They say, oh, there's money in real estate, but I didn't like my job. I didn't like what I was doing. The only part I liked was when I would talk to because I was supposed to be managing property. So I would speak to people. That was the part that I enjoyed. But the real estate part, selling houses, I didn't like it. So it's later I realized that I actually enjoy talking to people. I enjoy when I give my ideas to people and they take it and they run with it. And that's why, I mean, that's one reason why I said, you know what, I think I'll give this clothing thing a try. And this is almost 7 years after, and you know, we are here. So now I'm proud to say, oh, I'm a fashion entrepreneur. Before I would tell people, oh, I'm an essence of your, but I also do fashion on the side. Because for me, that wasn't like a, but now I say, oh, I'm a fashion and a media entrepreneur. Like it's something I'm proud of. Like even my wife will say, as in, you're really proud that you do this tailoring thing. I said, I mean, it is my calling. Like it is what I know that I'm called to do. Like if I've not been sure of anything in my life, I'm sure that this is what I'm supposed to do. And yeah, that's pretty much how, yeah.
Wow. I like that. I like the fact. Let me even start from the last one you said about your wife teasing you that you're even proud of what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm even proud of what you're doing, you know. Like,
you know, that's really quite an interesting one because I know that for me as well. At the beginning, when I started, you know, staying at home and I started focusing in the space, it took me a while actually introducing myself as a stay-home mom. And to think that it was when I started getting confident with that I started breaking into other things.
Exactly.
That's when I started breaking into other things. But for a long time, I struggled to say that. I'll just say, I'm a stay-home mom. You know, but eventually I'm there. So I completely feel you. I think there's something about owning the space that you're
owning the space you are in. Yes.
That space of confidence, owning it is like you now become, you know how there's this teaching that has been on in the body of Christ for a while about, you know, kingdoms, about, you know, having a space, a kingdom, you know, so it's like saying that you're now aware of the kingdom where you reign.
Kingdom.
Then you now start seeing things that are possible, and you now start chatting parts that, you know, so if you're someone who is probably
that's also so true.
Yeah, if you're someone, I'm just realizing that having this conversation with you because it never even clicked. It never clicked to me before, you know. But if someone is out there listening to us tonight or today, and is like, you know, I don't really like what I'm doing, and you might just have a a good flair for it. It's just that you've not really come to a place where you are like confident. You probably want to start seeing how you could own the space, because it could lead to other things when you start taking possession of that place with a lot of confidence. I also like what you said about knowing what the common denominator was. And that was, wanting to connect with people. You didn't want to miss that out. So you didn't mind that bit, connecting with people. You just didn't like the fact that what you were connecting for was what you were doing. But right now, you're connecting with people, and you like the fact that you're sharing ideas, because I mean, being in the fashion space, because I did a little bit of fashion, I have an architecture background as well. I know what it is to try to transact with ideas and briefs. So I know what you're talking about when you say you are sharing ideas and people are taking it, and you're like, oh,
they are taking it. And
I'm telling you, they're taking it. Like, oh, yeah. And they're like, okay, no, make this space blue and make this space, there's a flow there. So I really, really, really like that. So thank you for sharing that bit. I'm sure someone on that space, would be able to take a bit of stuff from what you said right now. And so for me, when I think about the fact that you've been there 7 years, when you started, were you even thinking about getting to 7 or doing things of a count of 100? Did it even occur to you? I mean, what was it like when you started? Were you just like, let me just do this thing?
I put 2 things into cognizance. The fact that, number one, I wasn't getting any older. I resigned when I was 32. So I was married and already had a kid. And so the plan was, okay, so I began to like enjoy. So let me the backstory. So, I mean, we'll do a 9 to 5. And then after work, I would now resume my side hustle. So from 5, I'll change my from my shoes to sneakers. I'll go to the market. I'll tell the suppliers in the market, don't close, oh, I'm coming. So from 5 to about 10, I am doing outspoken work. Saturdays and Sundays, I will do outspoken work. I just told myself that, hang on a minute, if you did not enjoy this thing that you were doing, that passion that is fueling your desire to work, I didn't have weekends. I was caught on Saturdays. Saturdays and Sundays I would do deliveries. Then after work was when, and then of course coupled with the fact that, so there's a particular way when God wants me to move in a certain direction, I become very dissatisfied. I become very dissatisfied. Like my boss put a memo out that anybody that comes late, they will deduct 5,000 from. At the point, I didn't even care. Like, I'll just calculate, okay, I'm late 20 times, so just take out. Yeah, so like it was that bad. Like, I did not like going to work. And so prior to that time, I mean, my wife had designed, so it was born to start on. So it was more of, okay, let's do that narrative of let one person be the business owner, let one person be the entrepreneur. 2 entrepreneurs cannot. And so that was what was holding me back. But I told myself that, see, at this point, I can't, like, I would do myself. My boss and I had a conversation. He said, whatever, he told me that whatever it is you are doing is distracting you. And I'm here to tell you. So I think you should focus. He just called me into his office. I remember that day vividly. He just called me, said, so I'm going to help you. I will either be forced to resign or I'll sack you. So the choice is yours. And I told myself that, it's time to probably God wants me to go ahead and do this. Of course, so January 2016, I resigned. And to be honest, it was just more of, so I'd rather fail as a 30-something-year-old than fail as a 50 or 60-year-old. If I can't continue to be miserable, and there are many miserable people in jobs that they don't like. There are many miserable people, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do this. And it was more of, if I perish, I perish. And I'm grateful. I'm always like, every time I think about it, I just get so emotional, because it was more of, is Hollywood or bust? You either work or it will fail. And I asked God, I said, God, if this thing works, I promise I'm going to be the poster boy for people following their dreams and making sure that always listen to the spirit. The person who made you is one that knows what you are made for. I'm glad that 7 years after, we have made giant strides. Like, sometimes I think about it, and so I mean, before we started recording, I was telling you about how we moved to the space we are in. To be honest, FolaFayo, Like I look at his place sometimes, and I'm like, am I the one? Am I the one? I mean, we have a staff strength of about 20 people. And so every Monday morning at our meetings, I'm the one imparting to them. I'm like, am I the leader of these people? And it's just a very humbling experience where I moved from it was just me. I was just like, you know what, God, you know that this thing I really want to do this. And it's just been a gradual process, and we are getting bigger. Of course, there's been mistakes here and there, but we are definitely not where we were 7 years ago.
Fantastic. So before I go into picking out the nuggets to just drop right now, can you tell in what year you would have crossed 100 outfits for your client? At what point that would have happened?
That would be 2019.
Wow.
2019. So we did so as of 2016, we were still outsourcing. We're still outsourcing. So production was based on other. I mean, I didn't have, or we didn't have our own workforce. We would use tailors that other people used. But when we decided to, I mean, I always give props to my mentor, who is also my elder brother, and he said something. He said, "You cannot determine the speed of production if you don't own the production process." And so we found out that the moment we owned our own production process, we started churning out things faster. So I think 2019 we hit 100. 2020 post-COVID we had hit 1,000.
Wow.
So yeah, 2020 post-COVID. Because okay, so we had still our most successful collection to date. We called it Eriayo. So Eriayo in Yoruba is translated as joyful play, where funny enough, it was the photographer who took the pictures. I called it Eriayo. I called it Outspoken to. I called it one name, sir. Because so in the picture we had it was supposed to be about friendship. The story was supposed to be, so it was about three friends who were just laughing, just had a good time. And so the whole idea was to have easy to wear the dashikis for people who were working from home or just were not bothered with. So it was just very easy to wear. I found that people from the US, the UK, Canada, they were just ordering. And we probably did up to almost 500 units. In fact, at a point I had to pause. I'm like, this cannot be. I have other creative ideas now. Look at the other things I have to offer now. Like that's only what people were ordering for almost 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Almost 2 years. Yeah. So 2019, yes, so when we hit 100.
Wow, fantastic. And that's like 3 years after. So I know you would have done multiples of 100 since that time.
More multiples of 100.
You're my
yes.
senior in this space.
Yeah.
You're my senior in this space. But I like what you said there, where you talked about the hint your brother who has gone before you. And it's interesting that you're bringing up this word on mentorship again, because the last time we had a guest, she was emphasizing the role of mentors in her life. And you're also coming and saying that a mentor's word, encouragement to you and, counsel was what changed the game for you, the work, just let you know that you can own the production line for yourself. You're going to be able to determine a lot of things, and that changed a lot of things for you. So well done for listening, because some people have mentors but they're not listening to their mentors. They're not listening to their mentors.
So I'll tell you, like, there's one thing that he helped, like there was a direction in which I'm forever grateful. So where our store was, there was a vacant property opposite. And I mean, we had talked about, we really needed our production space, because at the point a customer will come and maybe he needs to just take something in. We'll tell him to come back. He's like, I don't want to come back. I want to do it now. And so the building opposite was a bungalow. It was even bigger than our store space. And my assistant then said, boss, let us approach the landlady now. I'm like, I don't even have half of what they're asking for. Okay, let's just approach her. But before then, I was looking for just a small space just a small space that can house maybe one or two. Because he also encouraged me to be buying machines, because the price of machines. Let me just give you a fact. My first machine, I bought it 38,000 naira in 2008. Right now, that same machine is 180,000 naira. So yes, so I saw one in Lawansin. So I mean, Lawansin to where my store is about 20-minute drive, 20 30 minutes drive. And so I told him, I said, oh, I found one space, blah, 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 blah. But there's one space opposite, and they're asking for 1.5 million. The Lawansin space was going to cost maybe 200, 300,000 or something. He's like, take the one opposite. I said, he said, and then I broke it down. Take the one opposite because you don't have to spend too much time, but you can. By the time he broke it down, I said, okay, you know what? I will meet the woman, ask for a bit, and I'm telling you, FolaFayo, I kid you not, that has to be one of the best decisions I have made in my life. If he didn't tell me that, I would have, because I was looking from the point of view of cost. He made me see that it is better you take something opposite. Like you will think that of course you should take one opposite, but I didn't see it that way. He's the one that broke it down. So mentors are really, really, really important. Like no matter how high you get, you always need a mentor. Always.
So
Always.
I like that. I like that. So you sharing the bit about mentorship, you also dropping the fact that you said earlier also about how you know God is leading you in a new direction. Is about you start to sense a form of dissatisfaction, and on this journey to doing something that you stay long enough with, which we are celebrating with this series. For a lot of people, they need to start asking themselves, how do I know when I need to do something new? How do I know when a new thing is about to be perfect for me? Because a lot of people cannot really quite tell. But you saying that when I'm getting dissatisfied, I know that something new is coming up, and you might need to people might need to be a bit more sensitive to how things work for them. And of course, you saying that the decision point you came to, the crossroads, which is something that we also talk a lot about on the polished lens. The crossroad you came to was saying, you know what, I'll just give this a shot. I'd rather fail at something while I'm younger than try it out when I'm much older. I can't be failing at something when I'm in my 50s or something, So that was
Exactly.
really cool. That was really cool. I think that was one of the things that also helped me make a decision 2 years ago when I left the bank. I had a friend who had also resigned from paid employment. And that was what he was saying when we were asking him then that, why are you resigning now? And being a guy, why are you resigning now? You're so young. And it was not like, if he's going to fail, now, this is the time to fail.
Exactly.
No, not later. He doesn't want
Exactly.
to regret it later. This is the time to. So it's so good. It's so good to hear that. All right. So I know that now you've been in this space long enough. You've talked about, your breakthrough during the COVID time and people wanting something you're not even ready to give. You're like, okay, let's shift focus. And they're like, no, this is what we want. But you at
No,
least
it's that one they want.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or you listen to the voice of the markets, which is really what entrepreneurs really have to be doing. You need to be listening to the voice of the market because the market is determining, what they appreciate about what you can bring to them, the value you can bring to them. So in all of this, what has been your most memorable experience? The good one and the not good one in working in
Okay,
this.
most memorable experience working in this space.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I get to meet very important people, and they solely rely on your expertise to make them look good. Or like people maybe you see on TV, or you read in newspapers, and they're telling you that, please, oh, this thing has to look good. And I'm like, me, like, when did I start this thing? Which is why a lot of times I was speaking with a friend of mine. I said sometimes it just feels like, the real owner of this business will come and say, yeah, I'm back, because the kind of access I have into people's lives, just for the mere fact that you make clothes. Like, it's someone said that, oh, he puts me up there with his lawyer and his doctor. I said that, rich like that now. He said, no, because the kind of clothes I make for him will determine how people see him, and that for him is, still on perception shaping stuff now,
Yeah.
and I never said that. My one was just, I like this a position where I have an idea in my head, I put it into paper, my people will make it happen and people enjoy wearing it. That for me is enough satisfaction on its own. Not so memorable. So I decided to branch out to have a store on the island in 2019. I mean, I told myself that, I mean, I was on a roll. Like I remember I resigned, we had gotten a factory, the factory was running. I said, what new thing can I take on? And then at that point, everybody had an island office. So I said, okay, let me try. And so I collaborated with somebody who was selling fabrics, which turned out to be the worst mistake ever. And then coupled with the fact that it was a worst mistake. So of course, I would also say in my journey, I've learned who to form alliances with, how not to form alliances with. It goes beyond the surface. It goes beyond the surface. It's about people who share the same values with you. They may not look like it, but if you follow people that have the same values, you are likely to go farther. So unfortunately, the Lekki office ended less than a year. I tell people that COVID happened, but it wasn't COVID that happened. It was that partnership that happened. It was the wrong timing. But we are going to open an island office, but on our own terms.
Yeah. That's
So
so
yeah.
cool. That's so cool. I like that. Because we're not thinking a lot about that. Usually when we want to stay with something for a long time, which is also a good place to start. We're really looking at, am I capable? Do I have what it takes? But knowing
Mhm.
that the alliances or the partnerships that you form, you've already confirmed earlier about the role of mentors, but now you're saying that even the people that could be on the same level with you could determine how well you stay on a path,
True, very true.
you will grow in that place as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now, if you were going to start all over again, all right, if for some
Mhm.
reason um, everything cleared out, there was a clean slate given to you, and you were going to start all over again, say from when you graduated, what would you do? What would you do differently? Knowing all you've learned so far, what would you do differently?
No, so I tell you that my time at where I worked it wasn't I learned a lot. I mean, in fact, my boss clocked 60 a few weeks ago, and I went to see him, and you won't believe we were actually talking like friends. Like you could tell that he had this respect for me, and he was proud of course, people in their generation, they will never tell you I'm proud of you, but in their mannerisms and their, I mean, and I just wish that I'd been on this journey a lot longer. Dilly dallying, fear, uncertainty made me spend 8 years on the job. I wish I had done this a lot longer. If I'd done this a lot longer, I'm sure. Well, I won't say, because to be honest, all things work together, but I won't say maybe we would have been a lot bigger than we are now. But I'm thankful for the journey. But that particular, I wish I had made a decision on focusing on my passion a lot earlier. I spent too much time on that hill trying to make up my mind.
Mm,
Um, yeah, too much time, way too much time.
yeah.
Yeah. So that for me is one thing that I wish I would have cut the time short.
That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting. It's a challenge for a lot of people, and I know that that's really what's holding a lot of people back today. Just not being sure, and just wanting to say, "Oh, should I not? Can I? Can
Yeah.
I?" And so, if you're going to now advise, so that's a major lesson for you. But at the same time, you've appreciated your journey so far. So, if you're going to give a word of counsel to someone who was going to choose being a fashion entrepreneur, what two things would you be telling them to look out for to at least have a good start?
Wow. What two things? Why are you in this? My mentor told me the people that know the why will always be ahead of people that know the how. Know why you are into it. A lot of people are into it for the pizzazz, it's good, the lights, the
Plans.
everything.
Mhm.
But yes, exactly. But what do you do when all that is done? Um, so first of all, know the reason why you're doing it. Talent is really never enough. You need something extra to take you when the chips are down. And believe me, we've had chips that are down. Um, there's too much focus on money. There's too much focus on the outer thing. Nobody. There's more to relationships. I mean, FolaFayo, how long have I known you now? It's about how many years? Like 6, 7?
2017, 2018, yeah, about
20, yeah, exactly. And we are here,
5, 6,
and we're
yeah.
here 6 years after talking about our joints. Like, so we are too quick to want to get something from the person now. There's that, oh, if relationship doesn't give you what you want now, you abandon it. So another thing is, if you notice, I haven't really talked of anything fashion, because to be honest, a fashion entrepreneur really is an entrepreneur that does fashion. And the entrepreneurship part,
Yeah.
the I tell my tailors, that a lot of you are absolute beasts at this tailoring thing. But if you start a business today, it's not cost you to fail. Because, but it's true, the things you need to sustain a business, you don't have it. You don't come to work early. We have to practically drive you to finish the work you're given. You don't know how to manage your time. You don't know how to manage resources. You are you live your life as you wish. You spend money however way you like. So it's more about the character than the actual work itself. So I will say that invest in worthwhile relationships. Invest in worthwhile relationships. Um, relationships that will make you better. It will make you, as in a very funny way. We actually know the relationships that are not good for us and relationships that are good for us. We just like to lie to ourselves. So first thing, know the why. The second thing, invest. I mean, for me, I would say invest in quality relationship. Of course, if I'm going to add the third thing, get to know more about your craft. Always be a step ahead of the game. For me, I really want a business that I can hand over to my girls. There's one of them that is looking like she's on that path. So it's something that I would like to. I mean, I don't want my girls to be wondering what does daddy do. It's true. I mean, like, for the longest time, it was after my it probably was after my dad passed that I, in checking the document, and I realized, oh, he did this, he did that, he did many things. He never used to tell us. He never used to sit down to tell us, oh, this is what happened today. I would get home, and my daughter would say, oh, how was your day? I know she may not understand it, but I tell her, okay, this tailor did this. I went to the market. I went to this thing. Just give an idea that this is what your daddy does. There's no mystery around it. So get to be one step ahead of your game, and yeah, just be consistent.
Consistent, be consistent. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. That's fantastic. I think my favorite in the ones you've talked about is not being too quick to get things out of relationships. That's
Mm-hmm.
really actually a good one, because I also learned that in my space as a coach. Because you're right. Most times when we meet people immediately, what's on our mind is what
How far? As in, what can we do? What business?
I know, and sometimes we tend to forget that. But I found out that the most I don't want to use the word profitable, the most fulfilling outcomes work-wise for me that have come from relationships, where the ones that I didn't even consider much, that this one might not even end up even doing anything.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, I didn't even think about that, because you were not even thinking so much that the person will consider
Yes.
you on that note, and the person was like, this is what I want to do with you, as against the ones that you are trying to say, okay, this, I mean, it's a learning point. So I believe
Yeah.
that many people will get to learn that. All right, you've said so much tonight, Shola. I should really let you go. It's been good having
Oh,
you.
I didn't know time has even
I'm
gone.
telling you, time was gone. I was looking at the clock like, oh my God, I didn't even know it was going to go this fast. I didn't know it was going to go this fast. But I know that, all the things you've shared basically points to being able to stay consistent with something. Because really
Yeah.
the purpose of the 100 series is how do you make it through to 100 and more in something? And you've said it, mentorship, looking out for the right relationships and partnerships, having your why. Your why is actually really strong. You said so, that why factor really makes everything different, but also knowing that talent is not enough. A lot of people are talented, and you are right. Sometimes we feel like because we are talented in a craft, then that makes us able to start a business and do it well. But I'm sure for those who might have read the book, The E-Myth, they will know that it's not just about the talent. There's a lot to handling the business and all of that. So thank you so much for sharing. I should let you go, especially to those young girls that you've talked about. But just before you go, we want to ask you, what's the next big thing for Outspok'n? What are you looking out for that we can look into? How can we maximize maybe what you're offering end of year? Are you at a fair? Is there a project that we can be part of, even if it's some give back project or initiative, or some new design collection or exhibition you're planning? We want to know how can we lock into Outspok'n at this season?
Okay, so the A plan for December is like I enjoy December because that's when people that seem to have forgotten come back to us. So we just found out we exhibited at a sales event in Lagos called the Fashion Souk. Was an amazing turnout. We're doing our own sales event for from the entire week on Christmas 17th to the 24th. Where we have amazing designs and where we put up for sale to 20-50% off. We do that every year. Now the long-term goal is to have, because I work with a lot of Ashoke, Adire, a lot of local fabric. So the long-term plan is to have it like sell on the international market. Like not somebody say, oh, I'm coming to London, or can you make no. Like go to this self-ridges and you can buy. So it's the immediate plan. It's the long-term plan, and I'm trusting God for God to give us directions on that. Of course, my give back is the podcast, Coffee and Beans, which I'm really excited about. That one was also something I started scared. I'm hoping to clock 100 like you. I'm clocking to 100 like you. And still on relationship thing, I just wanted to add that, like, every single guest I've had is somebody I've known. Like, I've not had to pay someone to say, oh, can you come? No, people have done it and said, you know what, tell me when and where, I'll be there. And that just shows that there are people who, first of all, they respect the fact that this guy definitely has something to say. I want to be part of it. And that's just very, very humbling for me. So the Coffee and Beans podcast is something that I really enjoy doing. I'm sure you can tell I enjoy talking.
Yes.
Like me. I enjoy talking, so it's more. So I'm in that journey where I enjoy telling people about their stories. My plan is to go nationwide, talking to entrepreneurs across Nigeria, then Africa. So that's also a long-term plan along that podcast line. So
fantastic. So for everyone listening today, if you're not yet subscribed, or you've not even listened to any episode yet, you want to look out for
Coffee Beans Pod, the Coffee and Beans podcast. So find us on at Coffee Beans Pod, COFFEBEANSPOD.
Okay, cool. Yes. And we're going to drop a link as soon as we share this as well, so that you can go straight to it and direct to it. And concerning international showcasing and distribution of your work, I believe very much that as you have spoken it right now, from your mouth to God's ears and to the universe, things are orchestrated in your favor to make it happen. There might just be somebody listening today who will say, I want to be your first distributor in my space. So we're trusting that great things can come from that. Thank you so much, Shola, for that.
Thank you so much, FolaFayo.
We appreciate the stories you've shared today, the examples you've given, very specific, very, very specific. And it shows how intentional you are in your space. And I really do enjoy speaking with intentional people. So it was really good having you. And
all right,
wishing you the very best as you continue.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes, on the podcast as well. God bless you. And
great work you're doing with the polished lens. And thank you for everything. Thank you for everything. God bless you.
God bless you too. All right. Thank
Right.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.